Hello, good morning dear students. Welcome back. After a long time we are meeting, isn't it? Today we are going to discuss or we are going to our new chapter. The sixth chapter, Combustion and Flame. This is fourth chapter in Physics and Chemistry section, I think. Synthetic fibers, metals and non-metals, coal and petroleum. Then, do I miss anything? Okay, last chapter this. Means fourth chapter this. Combustion and Flame. It's 16. Our textbook and page number is 64. So, before going to the section, let me have an introduction about this topic. So, what is combustion and flame? Where these things come? That come related to fire, isn't it? What are the things we use in our home as fuels? As a fuel, maybe wood. If we do not have a gas stove, we will be using wood. Even if we have a gas stove also, we will be mostly cooking in the stove, other stove using wood. So wood is one of the fuel. Next one, gas, that is LPG, liquid petroleum gas, or CNG, natural gas, is a type of fuel, and they are used in both household. Gas is used in both households and also in automobiles also. Then other fuel used in automobiles is petrol, diesel, etc. Petrol is used in light motor vehicles and diesel is used in heavy motor vehicles which need more power. Example, buses, trucks, lorries. In these things we use diesel, and in small motorbikes, cars, scooters we will be using petrol. That is light motor vehicles. Diesel have more powerful. So that is the way of usage of fuels. So we are using different types of fuels, and in the industry of minerals, extracting minerals, such type of industries, they are using coal. Even now also they are using coal. So these are fuels, and how they get, what is the use of the fuel? The main use is to get heat and light. So these are the uses of fuel. If you are having a candle, the use of candle is to not give us heat, but in that case it is light. So sometimes flame is for light, sometimes it is for heating also. So that's all about the section combustion, introduction about the section combustion. You see here, first thing we have to discuss in this chapter is combustion. Combustion is a chemical process in which an object gives off heat and light in the presence of oxygen. The chemical process in which an object produces heat and light in the presence of air, or commonly air we can tell, or precisely you can tell the presence of oxygen. So the chemical process which gives off heat and light in the presence of oxygen is called combustion. And the materials undergoing combustion is called combustible or fuel. So two names for this, combustible or fuel. Other name of combustible is fuel. Once more, the chemical process by which an object gives us heat and light. For example, if there is a wood piece, the chemical process by which it gives us heat and light in the presence of oxygen, that is called combustion. And the object which undergo combustion is called fuel. So here wood is the fuel, and the process of burning of this wood, it is called combustion. That gives us heat and light, that is called combustion. Now coming to the section, you may have seen already in 7th standard that the burning of magnesium ribbon. You may have seen that. It gives a very much milky white color flames, isn't it? And it leaves behind an ash also. That is the byproduct in this chemical process, in the combustion. That is the byproduct, ash. Ash is the byproduct. So when we burn woods, we get carbon as the byproduct. That is a black color, thick black colored thing as a byproduct. And also ash will be there. If you are burning paper, there will be ash, that is almost white plus grey mixed colors. So that is the byproduct in the combustion. Okay, right. Do everything burn easily? Take a paper and a wood, okay, and light it using, or burn it using a candle or a lighter, cigarette light. What happens? This paper will burn easily, isn't it? The wood will not burn easily. It have to reach a certain temperature. Then only it will start to burn, isn't it? Paper will burn easily. At the same time, wood will take some time to reach a certain heat. Then only it will burn. So some of the object will burn easily, some other object will not burn easily. If you are taking some kerosene oil here and we are giving a lighter to that kerosene oil, what happens? It will burn spontaneously. At the same time it will burn, isn't it? So more fastly it burns. So there is a thing that is common in these things. So it gets a temperature very easily, it attains the temperature very easily, it attains the temperature not very easily, little time, this take more time. So there is a certain thing that affects in these things. This is called ignition temperature. So the minimum temperature needed for an object to burn, the minimum temperature, the least amount of temperature that is needed for an object to burn, that is called ignition temperature. Some of the products have very low ignition temperature. For example, kerosene, petrol, diesel, these things, gas, they have very low ignition temperature. So on seeing the fire, they will burn. So they have to get only very small ignition temperature. So they have to store very clearly, calmly. We have to store, we have to take care when we are storing these cylinders, gas cylinders or kerosene. So we are storing them in special containers or we are storing them in special bottles. But at the same time, we need not store a paper. It will not burn easily. We need not store a paper as like kerosene or diesel or petrol or gas, isn't it? It have, compared to kerosene, it have more ignition temperature. That ignition temperature is little higher. In the case of wood, it is more higher, isn't it? So ignition temperature is the minimum temperature required for an object to burn, is called, or to undergo combustion. It's called ignition temperature. The minimum temperature needed for an object to undergo combustion, that is called ignition temperature. And some of the objects have very low ignition temperature. For example, I told in the case of kerosene, diesel or petrol, these things have very low ignition temperature and they are called inflammable substances. What they are called? Once more, inflammable substances. Maybe you have seen this somewhere as a caution, inflammable, written the warning, inflammable, in petrol stations or anywhere like that. You may have seen these warning boards, inflammable, highly inflammable, like that. So these are the first topic in our chapter. Combustion is the chemical process by which an object gives off heat and light in the presence of oxygen, and the objects undergoing combustion is called combustible or fuel. The minimum temperature required for an object to burn is called ignition temperature. Inflammable substances are those substances with very low ignition temperature. Now, out of topic, let me discuss something. Now, just you have an activity. Take a candle, light a candle, or you can, if in your home, if you have lamps, you can take that also. And using a filter paper, if you have filter paper, fold it like this, a cone, fold it like a cone. First of all, light this cone. What happens? This will burn. Okay, take care to not burn your hands. This will burn easily. If you hold this cone, this will burn easily. The next time you have to add some water. You have to add some water into that. What happens this time? The paper will not burn easily. Why? Actually, the paper got an ignition temperature. That is a minimum temperature at which it burns. But when we add water, this will not reach its ignition temperature easily because there is the presence of water. Water will try to lower the temperature at that time. So what happens? Even we can boil this water inside a paper cup. Sometimes even we are able to boil the water inside the paper cup. So it may stay up to that time because it may not have attained the ignition temperature to that extent. So that is the difference in ignition temperature. You know about matchsticks, isn't it? Will they burn without touching anywhere? No, they will burn only when we strike against the matchbox. A matchbox side is very rough, and when we scratch this, what happens? It produces a heat. In that heat, this matchstick will burn. So it need a temperature, minimum temperature for burning. It will not burn as alone. When we are putting it as alone, it will not burn. If you are giving some heat, it will start to burn. Need not strike it, but when we bring it near a candle and we give some heat to that matchstick also, it will burn. So it need a certain temperature, and more clearly this temperature is ignition temperature. Hope this section is clear for you. There is some activities in your textbook. So first activity is that activity 6.1, to check some of the material, is they are combustible or non-combustible. There is wood, paper, iron nails. Iron nails are not combustible, isn't it? Kerosene, stone piece is not combustible. Straw is combustible. Straw means white coal. Charcoal, matchsticks. Last one, glass is also not combustible. So you have to mark it here. Without checking also you can understand that. If you need to make it clear, you can check also. Okay, right.